Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Hey Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Bihari Hey Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Jai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Jai Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jai Radha Jai Jagannatha Jai Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Jai Jagannatha Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Gurudeva Jai Gurudeva Gurudeva Jai Gurudeva Jai Jai Gurudeva Gurudeva Jai Gurudeva Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Prabhupada Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivind Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Shyam Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Brajbhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navdip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Amna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Granth Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Radha Vallabh Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Hare Hare Bol. All goes to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All goes to Guru and Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimandasya Jananjanashalakaya Chakshurulmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swayam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Siddhapadakam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrijatam Sahaguna Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadbhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagna Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitam Stam Vanchakalptarubhaischa Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Din Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishbhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Everybody, welcome to the class this morning. Please pray and give me blessings so I can speak something of substance. We are speaking from the 8th canto, this last chapter, Matsarya, the Lord's fish incarnation. And we are just starting the chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Canto 8, Chapter 24, Text 1, and we'll read 2 and 3 as well. So, we'll read the first one. Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Sustam Ichchami Harer Adbhuta Karmana Avatara Katham Adyam Maya Matsarya Vidhambanam Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Strotaham Ichchami Hare Adbhuta Karmana Avatara Kathyam Adyam Maya Matsarya Vidambana Bhagwan Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Sustram Ichchami Hare Adbhuta Karmana Avatara Katham Adyam Maya Matsarya Vidambana Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Sustram Ichchami Hare Adbhuta Karmana Avatar Katham Adyam Maya Matsaya Vidambana Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Sustram Ichchami Hare Adbhuta Karmana Avatar Katham Adyam Maya Matsarya Vidambana Sri Raja Uvachaha Bhagwan Srotam Ichchami Hareradbhuta karmana avatar katham adhyam Maya matsara vidambana. Mataji. Sri Raja Uvacha Bhagwan Yasum Ichchami Hareradbhuta Karmana Avatar Katam Adhyam Maya Matsarya Vidambana. Anyone else? Sri Raja Uvacha. King Parikshit said, Bhagwan, O most powerful, Sostram, to hear, Ichchami, I desire, Hare, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, Adbhuta Karmana, whose activities are wonderful, Avatar Katham, pastime of the incarnation, Adhyam, fest, Maya, Matsarya Vidambana, which is simply an incarnation of a fish. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Maharaj Parikshit said the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is eternally situated in his transcendental position. Yet he descends to this material world and manifests himself in various incarnations. His first incarnation was that of a great fish. O most powerful Sukadeva Goswami, I wish to hear from you the pastimes of that fish incarnation. Prepared by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of God is all-powerful, yet He accepts the form of an uncommon fish. This is one of the 10 original incarnations of the Lord. So I'm going to read the next two verses. I'll just read the translation. The verse, Yad atham atha data rupam matsayam loka jujuspitam tamha praktisa durmasaham karma grahasta veshasha eto no bhagwan sarvaham yathavad kar vaktaham arhasi uttam shloka charitaham sarvaloka sukhambaham. Translation. What is the purpose for which the Supreme Personality of God accepted this abominable form of the fish, exactly as an ordinary living being accepts different forms under the law of karma? The form of a fish is certainly condemned and full of terrible pain. O my Lord, what was the purpose of this incarnation? Kindly explain this to us, for hearing about the pastime of the Lord is auspicious for everyone. Parikshit Maharaj's question to Sukadeva Goswami was based on the principle that, but the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 4:7, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharate abhitanam adharmasya tadatmami srijamani aham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise in religion, at that time I descend myself. The Lord appears in each incarnation to save the world from irreligious principles and especially to protect His devotees. Paritanaye sadhunam. Bhamandai, for example, appeared to save the devotee Bali Maharaj. Similarly, when the Supreme Personality of God accepted the abnormal form of the fish, He must have done so to favor some devotees. Parikshit Maharaj was eager to know about the devotee for whom the Supreme Lord accepted this form. So I'll just read the translation once more. Maharaj Parikshit said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is eternally situated in His transcendental position. Yes, He descends to this material world, manifests Himself in various incarnations. His first incarnation was that of the great fish. O most powerful Sukadeva Goswami, I wish to hear from you the pastime of that fish incarnation. So Maharaj Parikshit is inquiring about the first incarnation, which is the fish incarnation. And the first thing he said, Maharaj Parikshit is saying, the Supreme Personality of God is Hare, is eternally situated in his transcendental position. So what does that mean? What it means is that when we are in this material world, we are not transcendentally situated. While the Supreme Personality, when Krishna comes, whether he is in the material world or in the spiritual world, his position does not change. He is always in a spiritually transcendental position. So, how do you understand this? Just like, for example, the Prime Minister. Now he goes to the prison. Does he have to follow the same rule as the prisoners there? He doesn't have to go through the same thing, right? Because he is in charge of the prison. So the rule does not apply to him. Similarly, when Krishna comes to this material world as one of his incarnation, that rule that he is under the three modes of material nature does not apply to him. His position is always same. He is transcendentally situated. So this was one of the first incarnation. And then in the second verse and third verse, what was the purpose for which the Supreme Personality of God accepted the abnormal form of the fish, exactly as an ordinary living being accepts different forms under law of karma? The form of the fish is certainly condemned and full of terrible pain. Oh my Lord, what is the purpose of this incarnation? Kindly explain this to us. For hearing about the pastime of the Lord is auspicious for everyone. So this fish incarnation, as you're going to hear in the rest of the chapter more in detail, but briefly is that usually when the Lord comes, he comes for, what is the reason why he comes? He comes mostly for two reasons, as it's in Bhagavad Gita. What does it say? When there is irreligion, he comes to establish religion, and what is the other reason? To protect his devotees and kill the demons. So of all the reasons, the most important is that he comes to protect his devotees. Because to kill the demon, he doesn't have to come. He can use many of his energies to kill. Either Kali can kill, or another person can kill, or in his form as time he can kill. So he does not come for that particular reason. But the main reason is that he comes to protect his devotees and perform his pastimes with the devotees. So you might have, this pastime is based under which devotee? How many of you read this chapter, prepared about it? Satyavrata Muni, right? So he was one of the kings. He was the king and he was a great devotee of the Lord. And just about 10 days before something, 7 to 10 days before, the whole devastation takes place. So there's two kinds of devastation. One is, that happens at the end of Brahma's day. So when Brahma goes to sleep, then Bhurbhuva Swa, the three planetary system, they all go under water. And only Brahmalok is inundated by the water. So this is when basically happen. And the other one is then when Brahma lives for his 100 years of life and Mahavishnu breathes in, then everything is finished and everything goes back into Mahavishnu. So those are the two times. So this is the first one, where Brahma has performed his 12 hours of sleep. Now he's tired and he wants to go to sleep. And then at that time, this Satyavrata Muni, he was doing his puja, he was doing a lot of austerities, and he was near a pond. So he took a handful of water. And in that water, what did he find? A little fish. So when he saw the fish, he put it back into the water. But the fish prayed to the king, say, King, I'm a very small fish, and there are much bigger fish here. If you leave me here, they're going to kill and eat me. So please protect me. So king, being a devotee and also a very compassionate person, took the fish and put it in his kamandal. So kamandal is very small, a small jar. And then took it home. Overnight that fish became so big that it would not fit in the kamandal. And he said, King, I can't fit, can you give me a bigger place? So the king put him in a well. So well is like about 3 cubic meters, right? That was the size of the... And overnight, next thing what happened, he comes there, even the well is small for him. Says, please can you put me something into bigger? So he put him into a pond. And then same thing happened. And got bigger, then he said, can you put me something bigger? So he puts him in a lake. And the lake gets small. And then finally he said, okay, there's no place, I have to put it into the ocean. Then the fish start praying that there are a lot of sharks, the big fish there, they're going to eat me. And then by this time, Satyavrata Maharaj knew that this was not just a fish. This was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he offered prayer to him, and then Matsya Avatar said that in 7 days' time from now, the whole devastation was going to take place. And when that's going to take place, I want you to collect all the herbs, plants and herbs, and all the animals, all the human beings, the saints, and come on this boat. And I will pull the boat. And on that Matsya Avatar, that fish incarnation, the fish had a horn. And he said, you tie the boat to me. And how do you tie that boat? Have you heard of the snake Vasuki? It's a big snake. So he said, tie the snake, use the Vasuki snake to tie the boat to my horn. And then this went for the whole day whole night of Brahma. So this is what the pastime is all about. Now, I was listening to some lectures and I was listening to devotees. And he says, how do you see all these things? This happened millions of years ago, right? And you think about it, is it really happening? And he said, if you look at it, you can see all these pastimes happening now. So what is the pastimes here? One of the pastimes is the fish is getting bigger and bigger, right? Isn't that right? So if you look at it in our ISKCON movement, let's just generally see, when Prabhupada initially started, there was one temple. Isn't that right? Then by the time Prabhupada left in 10 years, we had 108 temples and centers. How many do we have now? More than 800, right? So you can see it's growing. This whole movement is growing just like the fish was growing. Isn't that right? If you can see it, just like the fish was growing. So same thing, it is happening now, right? Now you look at another example, for example. Vara Avatar. Vara is, he went and what did he do? He took the earth from the Garbhadaksha. It was very dirty place. And what is this movement doing? Same thing. People's mentality was so dirty, they're so contaminated. And now by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, by the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, all over the world people are getting purified. Isn't that right? So our movement is doing same thing what the avatar is doing, because this movement is not different from Krishna. This movement is not different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And then you look at different avatars, look at Parshuram. What did Parshuram did? He killed how many times? 21 times, right? But he killed them. What does this movement do, It kills the mentality of the ignorance of the people in their mind. It does not kill them, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did not kill Jagai and Madai, but he killed their ignorance. So this is what this movement is doing. So instead of killing them, and what he's doing is this giving much, much more than that, this movement, So if you look at it in different ways, you can see how this movement is non-different from Krishna. Just like Krishna is performing so many pastimes, there's so many incarnations, we can see the same thing happening in this movement in many different ways, What is another incarnation? You look at Balram, what does Balram carry as his weapon? His name is Haladhari, right? The plow. Now you see, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we got so many farm communities going on, so many vegetables and things are planted. Same thing, So by the mercy of Balram, we are able to actually do that. Now, one thing I see here, which is very common, is the pastime of Lord Ramchandra, Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, who are very prominent? The monkeys, right? The monkeys are jumping and playing here, and when the kirtan goes wild here, I see all the devotees jumping like monkeys, So we are also like, Lord Ramchandra's monkey. We are also like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's monkey, Like Prabhupada said, the white elephants, we are in the same way. So you can relate all these different pastimes to the Lord, I know, I don't want to talk about it, but this keeps coming in my mind about the difficult time we just went through lately. One of our very dear devotee left this world. And I was at the funeral. I saw so many people were affected by the presence. And somebody commented that there were more people there than normally they are at a festival at the temple. There's so many people were there, And Mataji was, one of the things was that because she was living a life, in a very practical way, in a way where others can see and learn from that. And again, this is all expansion of the Lord's mercy, So when we say that the fish incarnation grows, it becomes bigger and bigger. Now, how does this movement grow? The movement grows through the preaching effort of these devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is actually transferred to the devotees, and the devotees are able to preach. Without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot preach. And Yamnulila Mataji, did so much service, and you could see in the love and the devotees who were there. So this is another glory of this particular movement. It is so, just like Krishna is so glorious, his devotees became glorious too. So many kids he taught, so many classes he gave, The one thing I liked about her, she was always happy, she always had a smile on her face. And she was always doing service to the devotees, Either she was doing drama or he was always engaged in some kind of service in there. So these are all the things that we need to do, And then in the end, just like Satyavrata Muni, because he did so much austerity, because he was such a nice devotee, in the end, when everything was about to be destroyed, Krishna came in the fish avatar, fish incarnation to protect him. Similarly, you look at Mataji's pastime. In the end, what I'm trying to say is that happened long time ago, so we might not relate to it. But now something that happened a few days ago, we can relate to it, that's happening in our life. And Krishna did the same thing. Krishna said that, whatever you lack, I will provide. And in that way, you can see that, when she was about to leave her body, he sent his own devotee, he sent a sannyasi, He was chanting, right? And the last thing she said is, what did she say? Jaya Srila Prabhupada, And I was thinking, usually you're supposed to say, remember Krishna, And here Mataji said, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, and I was wondering, I said, actually that's very smart. Because Krishna needs full surrender. Krishna needs, unless you are fully surrendered, Krishna does not accept you, doesn't take you back to God, but Srila Prabhupada does. Because Prabhupada said that I've got the back door key, so I can take you even though you are not fully there yet. When I say Krishna, you need to be fully surrendered, You can look at Bhagavatam, we can look at the pastimes, and we can see and relate to it. What do I mean when I said you have to be 100% surrendered for Krishna to give himself completely? Now, a very common example is Draupadi, right? So in the beginning, when Draupadi was disrobed, what did she do? Whom did she ask help for first? She asked the help of her husbands. There were 5 of them. They were so powerful. Arjun was undefeated. Bhim was so powerful. Right? But could they help him? Could they help her? No. Then what did she do? Then she asked all the people who were in there, Pitama Bhisham, Vidur, anybody was able to help them? No. Dronacharya, these are disciples of Parshuram, they couldn't help her. Then what is the third thing she do? She tried to protect herself. So she held the sari, Did that help? No. Then what did she do? She surrendered herself. Govinda, please help me. And then Krishna came. So Krishna could have come in any time and helped her because she was a devotee, but Krishna came only when she fully surrendered to. But Srila Prabhupada is very, very merciful. This is what I am seeing in this movement. This movement is so powerful, it's so merciful, that whatever little we do, the reward is so great. We can see that just like Prana Prabhu, when he left his body about a year ago, same thing, Krishna arranged all those things, in the end you surrender completely to Krishna. And then he sends his own devotees there so that you can listen to the name, listen to in the association of devotees. Prabhupada's chanting was going all the time. So the more we surrender to Krishna, the more we can get out of this material world. But the more we surrender to Srila Prabhupada, then the process becomes much, much easy. When Jagai and Madai were attacking Nityananda Prabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he want to do? He wanted to kill them. But Nityananda Prabhu said, no, don't kill them. You save them. You didn't did not come in this incarnation to kill them. In this incarnation you came to save them. Right? And then by the mercy of Nityananda, whole of Bharat Bhumi got saved. But what did Srila Prabhupada do? He came to the West. He saved millions of Jagais and Madais like me. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. That's why it is said that there is no other Acharya has come on there which is as powerful as Srila Prabhupada. I was watching yesterday, I think we had picture of Yamuna Leela Mataji, and then everybody was offering flowers, so I was just thinking about it, When Srila Prabhupada was sick, there was a person, this is way back in 1976 or 7 I'm talking about, and Prabhupada's health was not very good. And one of the peasants who was very concerned for Prabhupada, he was living in, I think, Calcutta, and Srila Prabhupada was in Mumbai at that time. And he flew from there in an aeroplane, And he wanted to see Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, at that time, because his health was not good, so nobody was allowed to go and see Srila Prabhupada. And this person said, I flew all the way. And then I think they said, okay, we'll let you go and see. So when he went there, and he asked everybody to leave. So everybody left, but the servant did not close the door because they always wanted to hear what they were saying to Srila Prabhupada. And this particular person said, Prabhupada, do you know that in all your temples, devotees are worshipping you and offering you flowers? That means that when they offer flowers to you, which we do every day to Srila Prabhupada here, you get their karma, you get their sin. Right? So he thought Prabhupada did not know that. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I know that, that's why I came here, to take their sin, to purify them. And he said that, not only that, until I'm here, I'm going to continue to do that after even I leave my body. So when we offer flowers to a devotee, when we offer flowers to Srila Prabhupada, they're purifying us. They're clearing our anarthas, they're cleaning our sins so that we can be qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, And we are offering flowers there, and I said, I hope, they are in a better situation, they are more in a transcendental position to actually accept. And because, once Indradumna Maharaj lost one of his disciples, this was in Vrindavan, and he was very upset, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj said to him that she is in a better position now to actually bless us, because he is on a spiritual transcendental position, So these are the things that we can actually understand and learn from day-to-day life, how important it is, At the funeral, a lot of people were saying, they're talking to me and they're saying, why we are working so hard, what are we working so hard for? Because one day, we're not going to take anything, everything will be gone, So how much time do we spend to actually prepare for the final test? What is the final test? Right? It's not how much money you have got in the bank, how much properties you have got, The final test would be in what consciousness you live your body, And that's more important than anything else, And, so this is very important. We should prioritize our life in such a way that we can walk towards it. We can live our life. This movement is all about preaching, and preaching does not mean just sitting on the Vyasasana and preaching. Living an exemplary life so others can learn from you. When somebody looks at you, they say, oh, he is a Hare Krishna devotee. So those are the things we can do to help ourselves and this movement and Srila Prabhupada to actually preach, Today is another special day. What is it today? Shivratri. So my sister yesterday called me, she said, because we are devotees, we all worship Krishna, she said, she's a devotee, she's a disciple of His Holiness Ved Vyas Priya Maharaj. She said, in LA, in Fiji we don't do Shivratri at the temple, right? I'm from Fiji. But in LA they used to worship, do Shivratri. And they said this year they are not going to do it, so they're changing some of the things, and so she said, how do we understand this? So the question is, how do we fast today? I think today they fast and stay awake whole night. Those are the Shiva Bhaktas. How do we do it? How do we understand Shivaratri? So my thing was that, I don't know. Right? But we do what Srila Prabhupada told us to do. So that's my answer to everything. Did Srila Prabhupada do it? Yes, he did it, we do it. If Srila Prabhupada didn't do it, let's not add anything to it. Right? But do we worship Lord Shiva? Does our parampara, this particular Gaudiya Sampradaya, do we worship Lord Shiva? No? Yes? No? If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says Advaita-acharya is also an expansion, of Lord Shiva, Sadashiva. Sadashiva, so if you look at it that way, we are worshipping him. Now if you look at in Vrindavan, right? Before we go, Gopeshwar. Have you heard of Gopeshwar? No, this is the deity that actually protects Vrindavan, Chakleshwar. And Yashoda Maya worshipped Lord Shiva. Now if you go to Gokul, very close to the place where is the yogurt chaining place, where Krishna was tied, right? If you go there, Brahmand, where Yashoda Maya asked Krishna to open the mouth and he could see the whole universe in there. Just next to is Shivalinga, and it is called Chinta Ishwar. So Chinta means anxiety, right? So whenever Yashoda Maya had anxiety about Krishna, because all the demons and all of them coming, she would go and pray to Chinta Ishwar. And they said that if you sincerely go and pray there to Lord, then all your anxieties goes away. So, yes, we are worshipping him, but we don't worship him like the Shiva Bhaktas. The Shiva Bhaktas see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But how do we see him? top-most Vaishnava. Actually, to understand Shiva is the most difficult thing. So there are three tattvas, jiva tattvas, which we are very minute. We can understand our situation. We know the Vishnu tattva, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Shiva comes in between the two. So he's neither jiva, neither Vishnu, but he's in between there. Now I'm a numbers man, so I always try to remember things in numbers just to understand where we fall. So there are 64 qualities. Us as jivas like Brahma can get 49 of those qualities to some level. So we don't have all the 64 qualities. Lord Shiva has 55 of those qualities to some degree. Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu has 60 of those qualities. And Krishna himself has all the 64 qualities. So if you really want to understand the position of Lord Narayan, Vishnu, right, Lord Shiva and the jivas, you can understand that Krishna's position is the highest. That's why it says Krishnastum Bhagwan Swayam. The whole Bhagavad Gita, see, the whole Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is trying to explain this one point. Krishna is to Bhagwan Swayam. 18,000 verses has been written to make us understand that the original Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Brahma also said the same thing. Ishwar Param Krishna. Not only of all the Ishwars, the Param Ishwar, the most supreme one is Krishna. Sachit Ananda Vigraha, his body is not like our body, which is destructible. You know, when we die, just like we cremated the body was finished. Krishna's body is Sachit Anand. It is eternal, it is full of knowledge and full of bliss. Anadi Radhir Govinda, he is the beginning, there is no beginning, there is nothing before that. He is the source of everything. Sarva Karan Karanam, and he is the cause of all causes. So this is position of Krishna. And then he has these four qualities that even Narayan doesn't have. And I was reading one of the Acharya's books, and it was said that Radharani, after Krishna left Vrindavan, she went to the sun planet. And the mother of the sun planet, she said, "Oh, Narayan is here." And Vishaka, who was with us, he said, "It doesn't make any difference, you don't understand. When we were doing Ras Leela and Krishna left, and all the gopis were looking for Krishna. And Krishna transformed himself into Narayan forms. He had 4 hands, right? He was standing there. And when the gopis came and saw him, out of respect they paid him obeisances, but all the bhav they had, that disappeared, And he said, "Have you seen Krishna?" And that was it. They had no attraction for him. He said, "You don't understand the bhav that the gopis have or the Brajbasis have for Yashodanandan." So this is the most higher level. Because he's so beautiful, Tribhanga Roop, He's two-handed, he has 2 hands. Narayan has 4 hands. So these 3 bending places, his neck, his waist and his leg, it's bent in 3 different places like that. So his form is so beautiful. And Rupa Goswami says, if you want to enjoy this material world, then don't go and see the cowhead boy who sits in the bank of the river, the dark boy who sits at the bank of the river under a tree on a golden throne, Because if you see him, that's it, you are finished. So that's Krishna's form, And then his flute playing. When he plays his flute, Lord Shiva gets stunned, Brahma doesn't know where the sounds are coming from. Even Sheshnag, who's carrying all the planets who need hell, he starts going, like that, So it's so madhurya, it's so sweet like that. And Shiva has doesn't have all those kind of qualities. So on today, as Mataji said, that we should worship Lord Shiva as the servant of Krishna. He is the Param Vaishnava. We can never become Shiva. We can become Brahma. Brahma is a jiva like us. So when we can be qualified to become Brahma, we can become Indra, but we can never take the position of Lord Shiva. And Srila Prabhupada explains, even in Brahma Samhita, it explained that the difference between Lord Shiva and Vishnu is just like milk and yogurt. So there's little bit culture is added and the milk becomes yogurt. So you can in a way say that yogurt is also milk, right? But you can't say milk is yogurt. Right? So in that way, there is slight difference. So what is the difference? When in Brahma Samhita, it is explained that when Mahavishnu sees all the living entities which are in them, and they have to actually fulfill their desire and their karma, right? So the only way to do that is material creation has to be done. Right? So he desires, and he breathes out, and all these universes get created. And then, by his Shakti, which is Roma Devi, which is his concert, this is Mahavishnu's concert, just like concert of Krishna is Radharani. So Rama Devi, she takes this in his glance. What does she take? The two things, all the living entity and the Shakti called Kal. You know what Kal is? The time factor. And these two is taken and given it to Shambhu, which is Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva impregnates the material nature with all the jivas and this, and that's how it created. So if we really look at it, we can understand that Lord Shiva is the father of all the living entity in this material world. And Parvati is our mother in that sense. So the difference, the way I see it is that when Krishna comes in this material world, he does not get touched by the material nature. Understand? But he has to run this show here, he has to create this. So he transforms himself into Lord Shiva, where Lord Shiva comes in contact with Maya. So there is little bit, so he takes some of the qualities of Maya. But he is the greatest devotee, he does a lot of things. He's a Rudra Sampradaya, he's a Vaishnava Sampradaya. And also at the same time, in this Kali Yuga, how did he appear? At Shankaracharya. And what did Shankaracharya do? He preached about Mayavadis. So he also does a lot of things that nobody else wants to do or can do to fulfill the mission of Krishna. So he's a Param Vaishnava, we should actually respect him, and we offer him, and if we see him as just like the gopis, they worshipped also Katirani. Who is that? Parvati. But what did they worship her for? To attain Krishna. So we can also worship Lord Shiva and the demigods in the same mode, there, so that we can get Krishna. Okay? We'll finish here. Any comments, any questions? So we finish here. Any comments? Although you didn't understand? Or we clear? Okay, we finish here. Garantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Devi ki jai. Shri Radha Ballav ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.